So we're ahead of them. And what they're worried about, and I think this is why Trump may win this war, is they rely on technological transfers. They have to. The virology lab was cooked up in Europe and the United States. All the people there were trained abroad, or trained by people who were trained abroad. So they need the 300,000 students to come back or to steal stuff, or both. And if they don't have that technological transfer, or they can't have American companies invest and then appropriate them after 10 years, their native science, because they're not a free country and they don't attract people from all over the world and they don't allow certain areas of research, they'll never be competitive with us. At least if we turn to meritocracy and we don't adopt a DEI commissar system as we have. This trans stuff, it's a freedom of speech. This is like Catcher in the Rye. No, it's not. I went online and looked at some of that stuff. It's graphic references and illustrations in some cases to things like masturbation, passive sexuality, the mechanics of coitus. It's filthy in the sense that no child should look at that. And they know that. But then they put on the cover, when they talk about the books and the literature, there's a guy and another guy and they're holding hands and they're so innocent. If that's true and that's your message, why do you put that other stuff in there? Is it to titillate children? I don't know why you would do that. So it's not about freedom of speech, it's about pornography. And the other thing is, and I've mentioned this before, if you go back and you look at sexologists of the 19th and early 20th century, like Havelock Ellis and others, they had postulated that gender dysphoria, people who were born into a body that did not match their cognitive awareness, was less than 1%. And later studies have showed it was probably 0.05 or something. So I want everybody to explain how at some campuses 20% of the people feel they might want to transition. And so it's a fad. It's like when I was a kid, everybody went about a Duncan yo-yo, and before that it was a hula hoop, and then when I was in graduate school it was a pet rock. And that's what this is. It's a fad, it's a cult, and we're supposed to think that this is a massive biological fact, and it's not. And we're supposed to think that there's very few biological males that transition that really take away things from women. If it was one, it would be bad enough, but there's a lot. The other thing is we're supposed to assume these lies that once you transition to a woman, you're no different than a woman, and therefore there is no advantage because they are now women and they're just competing in women's sports. And the retort to that is, okay, you're a man and now you say you're a woman. You might have reconstructive surgery, might have hormonal treatment. You might have anything you want to transition to the male sex. But if you try to compete in the NFL or the NBA or track meet, you're going to lose every time. So that kind of puts the whole idea into fantasy that you can transition and be completely identical to the sex that you have chosen. It doesn't happen. They know that. So what I'm getting at is they don't want to talk. They never talk about that. I'm kind of disappointed in conservatives when I hear this stuff on TV. I would just wish one person would say, okay, let's just forget the argument for a second that males who become females have no advantages, but why don't women that become males, why don't they win male sports contests and events? Just ask them that. It's the reaction to specific egregious acts of the Biden administration. And the most egregious was that anti-abortion protester who was peaceful, and somebody pushed his daughter and he pushed back, and the next thing he had an FBI SWAT raid at his house. And everybody knows the last 4 years, if you were peacefully and calmly outside an abortion clinic, you were going to probably be not only arrested, but on some type of FBI list. And if you went in and attacked a pro-life office, they weren't going to do anything to you. And then when they asked Merrick Garland that, you remember his answer, what he said? Oh, Yes, but because the people on the left who attack pro-life do it at night, so we don't know who they are. I mean, we don't have any security cameras. People can't see at night anymore. There's no night vision goggles. We haven't invented all these things yet. But during the day, these stupid right-wing people, they're dumb enough to go and we can identify them, go in front of a clinic. And that's what they did. And Trump is always an 80-20 guy on issues. And when you look at religiosity, you can see that cohort 18 to 30, there are more now converts from apostates or agnostics or atheists to believers, Orthodox believers, I mean Protestant Orthodox Christian, than any other cohort. So I think he's saying that to younger people who voted for him that we're going to try to protect you from harassment. And harassment's very common. I mean, sometimes it's the satanic people that come in. I mean, what I mean is that I don't have any problem with freedom of expression, even freedom to be obnoxious. But when you have the Sisters of Perpetual, the gay guys that dress up as nuns, and you have people who dress up as Jesus, and they do all that stuff in the Bay Area or coastal California. That is, they mock Christianity in their pornography, and they even simulate sex between nuns. They do all that performance art stuff. I don't know if that's what the rules are under the Constitution, that it's freedom of expression. It wasn't before because that was called a public obscenity, but we got rid of those. But if anybody did that about gay people and made fun of them, or let's say two heterosexuals made fun of gay sex or gay icons. I'll just give you an example. What if somebody took Harvey Milk, the supervisor, first gay nice guy, but what if they said, Harvey Milk, you were at a Christian or conservative group, and they took somebody that dressed up like Harvey Milk, and they made him engage in an embarrassing sex act, the way that these people do with nuns. Well, what would happen to that person if they were in a blue state? They would throw the book at them, or they would cry. They would get so angry. And so what I'm getting at is it's all this asymmetry, and it's all based on the idea that the left thinks they're morally superior and they can engage in any means necessary to achieve their noble ends. But it's so hypocritical. Because these people in Wall Street are, as I said, neurotic and volatile, and that works both ways. They can react to those. They want to make money, and they think if we've got budgetary interest in cutting, and we've got deregulation. Deregulations cost about $1 trillion a year on a drag on the $30 trillion economy, maybe $2 trillion. So any of these things are incentives, and the person will think that they can make money by investing in the stock market. This was the biggest cover-up. It made water look like a joke. We put into the White House someone who did not know where he was on given days or what he was doing, and he was controlled by a cabal of people whom we don't even know who they were exactly, other than our guesses that they were a coalition of the Obama people, Obama, Michelle, and Barack, plus the squad, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders wing, and then with some input from the Orthodox leftist Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and they were doing all the appointments, everything. No one else knew what was going on. He didn't know. And then Jill Biden, she was the conduit that they called, and Hunter and Jill would translate that and do the auto pin probably. No idea where he was. Very tragic. He should have. He lived by the coup and he died by the coup. He was put in by a coup of sorts when they looked at that field and they said, Joe didn't win New Hampshire. He did not win Nevada caucus. He had not won Iowa. He's going nowhere. We've got a bunch of nuts. We've got Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth. This is not going to work. So you get rid of those people. Give them a cabinet position. Give them this. Give them that. Give Bernie another house on a lake or something. But do not let these people. And all of a sudden, after South Carolina, they all disappeared. Joe was anointed within 30 days, and the cover-up went. And then every once in a while, they'd say, we got a big trouble. Tell him that the laptop was Russian disinformation. We'll round up some flunkies and get old James A. Baker from the FBI and put him over there on Twitter and make sure he censors the news. Call up Zuckerberg and tell him to put in 400 million. That was how they ran the whole thing. And then when he was a useful waxen effigy, and they had that. Then they said, you know what? He's got fluorescent tape on. He doesn't know where he is. Well, I know what we'll do. We'll have a classic, never done before debate. We'll have a debate before he's even nominated, before the conventions have ever met. Can you imagine that? Well, Trump wouldn't do that. He's ahead in the poll. No. We'll bait him. Trump is very vulnerable to macho baiting. So just put Biden on for a minute and make him act like he's Clint Eastwood. Make my day, Trump. Make my day. I'm ready for you anytime. And we had that June 27th debate. And he just looked there like he was, I don't know where he was. He wasn't there, but then they decided, we'll just take the coup in reverse. We'll just get him out of here. They had a little problem with Jill. Hunter was worried that he'd go to jail if his dad, but they promised him that he would be pardoned. And that's how we got it. And then they were going to have an open convention. This is the party of the people, transparency. And all of a sudden the Obamas got rid of Biden, and they didn't understand that Kamala had it sewed up, and then $1 billion later, she was the nominee. Obama called him up because Obama engineered the removal, and he thought he was going to have some kind of fake little convention where they appointed and they did a call-in and they were going to nominate, I don't know, Gavin or Josh Shapiro or Amy Klobuchar or Gretchen Whitmer or somebody that was a governor or something. And he called up Clyburn and said, I think he thought, I'm Barack Obama. Jim, I thought about it. We got rid of Biden a few minutes ago. We're going to open it. No, you're not. It's Kamala. And they said the phone call lasted a minute or so, and that was it. It was the most non-transparent Tammany Hall, back room, insider, smoke-filled room type of nomination from the party of transparency. It really was. It was no more than 24 hours that everybody said, what's going to happen now? And there was even, remember, there was one or two people, what's his name from Joe Manchin. Remember, he thought he was going to be a candidate for about 2 hours.
He'd be an independent, right?
Yeah. Oh, he was, but when they opened, he thought he might even get the Democratic nomination for he went on TV and he said, maybe I might be considered. And that thing was it was about it. She called up Biden and said, I need your endorsement. She called up it was done. And then all of a sudden the money poured in, and then she was about hope and courage. And the Democrats went down from about 4 down in the polls with Biden to these phony new polls that said she was ahead by 2 or 3. I don't think she was ever ahead, but that was what they said. The United States at the end of the war, as I've said before, had a larger GDP than all of the other belligerents, Allied and Axis combined, and a larger fleet than all the fleets, Japanese, British, Russian, Italian, put together. So you can see what the United States was able to do in just 4 years. But they were in the Depression. There was a Great Recession in 1938, 18% unemployment. We talked about that. And it was poor little Southern segregationist Representative Carl Vinson. And he had a series of naval acts in the 30s that laid the foundation for the new American fleet that appeared in 1940. Had he not done that, the war would have gone on a lot longer. But my point is, the United States felt after World War I they'd lost 120,000 dead, 300,000 wounded, and they said to themselves, the British are back at it, the French are back at it, the Germans are back at it. And last time we went over and saved the Allies, we just got a bunch of debt and they haven't paid us back, and there's war again. It didn't solve anything, so we're not going to go to war. And they would know if Japan had not attacked. And so the point I'm making is that we lost deterrence with Europe because Hitler said they don't have an army.
If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our latest content.